Hi, I hope you're good. I hope you're well. So today I want to talk about the movie Tsotsi, the South African 2005 Oscar winning, yeah, it won an Oscar, movie Tsotsi. I want to give a little retrospective, if I may. I want to talk about I believe it's still popular in South Africa, why it's a South African classic. We have many of those, but today I want to talk about this one. So let's talk about it. So before we even go further, let's talk about the title. What is, or rather, what is a Tsotsi? So a Tsotsi is a young urban criminal, especially from the township areas. In South Africa, we have the townships. That's where most poor black South Africans live, most poor non-white South Africans live. Let me say that. And to reveal its racial connotations, because a white person cannot be a Tsotsi. That is reserved for black people. Yeah, it's so special. So special we have our own names. So to reveal its racial connotations, the Dictionary of South African English states that in historical context, especially during the 1940s and 1950s, a young black gangster or hoodlum who affected a particular style of language and flashy dress. So, as I mentioned before, Tsotsi is a 2005 crime drama film written and directed by Gavin Hood, as well as produced by Peter Fedowski. It was adapted from a novel with the same name, Tsotsi, by Athol Fogart. The film is a co-production between South Africa and the UK, with the UK Film Productions being UK Film and TV Production Co., and the South African production companies being the National Film and Video Foundation of South Africa, as well as the Movie World. Now, the cast is a star-studded one, with the leading role being played by Prestige Jwanagaye, whom I believe has passed away earlier this year. And the supporting cast includes Terry Peto, Temi Nyandeni, we have Kenneth Ngosi, we have Jerry Mofokeng, amongst others. David's upbringing is a tough one. He grows up in an abusive household with his father doing the abusing, and unfortunately his mother was ill. And I do believe that the provides context to what David grows up to be, and it's a testament to that whole idea that your environment does influence who you become. It does influence your thinking and your outlook on life. So he runs away from home and he goes to join other kids, and they grow up. They kind of raise each other in that kind of way. And then in the later stages of his life, he becomes a gangster. Well, he becomes a Tsotsi. Hi, so it's still me. I bring in to say, do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to engage with this video, comment, share, like, and subscribe. Yeah, so I was just saying that. Enjoy the video. Bye. On one rainy evening in Johannesburg, Tsotsi is on his quest to find gold. That means he's trying to steal something, he's trying to find something to steal. He approaches, or rather comes across Pumla, who has temporarily left her car unattended while she tries to get her husband's attention to open the gate. It's raining, the cardboard thing, so she has stepped outside to get her husband's attention to open the gate. This is where the whole John Valley gate comes from. So in South Africa, a couple of years earlier, I believe 2021, if I'm not mistaken, there was a song with the lyrics John Valley Gates, and that built a whole trend, a whole dance thing. It was a whole popular thing, fun moment, loved it. And I did not know that it originated from the sin. It originated from Pumla banging on the gate saying John Valley Gate. That simply translates to John open the gate. Right, so this is happening. Tsotsi finds a moment to get in the car. he's trying to steal the car. Pumla sees him, but then yeah, and he steals he steals a car and he speeds off, only to find out that there's a baby in the backseat of the car. So after this realization, he then realizes that, yeah, I have to take care of this baby and this baby needs to be fed. So one day he sees Miriam, played by Terry Petto, who has a baby on her back. So he figures, yeah, that's a little baby. So she's probably still breastfeeding him or her. He goes over to her and goes, you need to feed this baby. He forces her. She has to do it. And the next time that he comes back, she to leave the baby with her so she can adequately take care of him because he can't do that. So he does leave the baby with her. So the secondary plot of the film is, in my opinion, a reveal of the unsettling, uncomfortable truth that South Africans face, which I have to say, this was back in 2005 where the economy was a bit better, but still, I think this is still relevant. So South Africa is considered one of the most unequal places in the world. I did some research on this and I discovered that there's this thing called the Gini coefficient that is a measurement of inequality or equality in most states, right? So a Gini of 0 is perfect equality, while a Gini of 1 is perfect inequality. And South Africa currently stands at 0.67. That means we are leaning towards perfect inequality. Yeah. Sorry, I went off on a tangent, but as I was still saying, the secondary plot has more to do with Tsotsi's friends, and it reveals this unsettling truth of how unequal things are. Because on the other side, we see how John and Pumla are living, and then on the other side, we see how Tsotsi and his friends are living. So this has to do more with Tsotsi's friends, specifically Boston. Boston has to take his teacher's exam, but he doesn't have money to take him. So the gang decides that they need to raise up money to get him to take his lovely friends. You see, lovely friends. They decide to raise money by doing what they know best, which is they're gonna rob someone's house. And who better to rob than John? John being Pumla's husband. So they're literally going back to the same house to rob it again. Well, they didn't rob it the first time, but then this time they're going to rob it again. But things don't go as planned as they arrive there. It's Tsotsi, it's App and Butcher, two of his friends. Boston is back home, he's injured, so he can't go. Lovely friends, they are out there getting money for him and he can't go. Lovely, lovely. Granted that Tsotsi is the one that put him in the position in the first place by beating him up, but no, still, they're lovely friends. So it doesn't go as planned when they go inside the house. They follow John inside the house. They hold John captive, and when John gets an opportunity, he presses the panic button, which alerts security. In a panic, Zodi shoots Butcher and kills him, and he runs off with App before the security company gets there. And App is like looking at he's like sideways, side eye, sideways. He's like, yeah, if you could do that to your friend, then you could do that to me. So he vows to never be a gangster again. He leaves the gangster life behind. He's redeemed. So that happens, and he goes back to Miriam, and Miriam pleads with him to take the baby back. And I was thinking, are you going to raise this baby by yourself? Like, what kind of life are you going to provide for this baby? You grew up under such circumstances, so you want to raise a baby under such circumstances. I think he realizes that and he takes the baby back. Unfortunately, when he gets there, the police are also there and he gets arrested. So there are alternate endings, which I will discuss later, but this scene is a bit emotional. Like, I cried when I was watching this scene because who the character that Tsotsi has, amazing. I mean, like, he had character development. There's a a scene earlier on where he's like bullying a homeless disabled man, and there's a scene later on where he goes back and gives that man money. Like, come on now, this man has grown, not so bad. So I believe that's why the ending was so emotional, and that's why so many people were rooting for Tsotsi. But I want to talk about development of his character later on. The ending was, yeah, it was tearful. I cried. I did cry. While the primary plot does a great job of showing this dangerous thief who mistakenly abducts a baby and regains his consciousness, his humanity, while taking care of said baby, I believe the secondary plot did it for me. I love the secondary plot because it showed how unequal South Africa is, with Pumla and John living where they live, driving the car that they drive, having the material possessions that they have, in juxtaposition of where his friends are. And the whole plot of Boston needing his teachers, needing money to take his teacher's exam, rather, is a great way to show that speaking this for vibes. They're not doing this for fun. They're not doing the whole stealing, the whole activities for the thrill of it. No, it's because they need to survive, and they're just a product of their environment. Let us quickly talk about why I believe South Africans love this film, why I love this film. I'm a South African who loved this film, so I'm not wrong when I say why South Africans love this film. Yeah. But the world building, the cinematography adds to the world building, because there's certain scenes where you feel it, right? There's a scene in the train station. There are people that are walking by fast. There's an influx of people coming in and out of the trains. The train station is busy. People are walking. They're going to work. They're coming from work, kind of thing. Just, for me, I've been there. I've seen that. So for me, it's like a real depiction of South African between work and after work, that whole thing. And I really appreciated it. I feel like it adds to the whole, this is how ordinary South Africans are living. And then when we go to the luxurious side where Pumla and John are living, it's very calm, it's very that kind of thing, except the whole robbery going on. But you see the whole cinematography adding to the world building. That way we then get to see how the different people in the film rather, are living. And I appreciated that because I believe into the world building. Yeah. Another thing that adds to the storytelling is the acting. Of course, the acting. By the way, when I say the star-studded cast, I'm into the stars. There's, before them being famous, these people are stars because every single time they are on your screen, they make sure I'm talking your Jeremy Gang. Oh my god. Every single time that man is on screen. Yeah. Presley was amazing. Everything that I've seen him on, amazing. Amazing. So these people are stars in the sense that they do their job very well. Very well. Legendary South African actors. And recently, there has been discussions on certain corners of the internet regarding South African acting dwindling, right? Because there are influencers that are now appearing on our screens, and we're like, baby, maybe you need to take acting classes. I have no problem with people deciding that, hey, I want to do this thing, I want to learn how to act. Sorry, I have no problem with that, but you have to respect it. You have to learn the craft, right? Because I can't just say, oh, I want to start painting and then I just do stupid things and then want people to appreciate. That doesn't work that way. So I do believe that everything can be learned. And with this whole influencers being on our screens, I think they need to take their job seriously, if that's their job, if that's what they want to be their jobs. So yeah, but nonetheless, I really appreciate the cast, and every single time you see these people on screen, they don't miss, they don't play around, they act like rent is due, which I think that's what actors are supposed to do, because that's what keeps us engaged in the storytelling aspect of everything that we watch. Another thing that adds to the storytelling aspect of Tsotsi, in my opinion, is the plot. Right? This this movie is well written in terms of it is centered around crime, yes. But there's so many things that keep us engaged. There's so many things that we can take away from this movie, so many lessons, right? I talked earlier about Totsi's character development. So there's a scene earlier on where Tsotsi is bullying a disabled homeless man. He's giving him a hard time, but then later on in the later scenes of the movie of the film, he goes back and give the man money. He goes back. He's very sympathetic, right? And you can see that this is true. This is genuine. And throughout the whole film, we see that Tsotsi is not just a criminal. He is not doing this again. He loves it or whatever. No, no, no. He's doing this because this is his way to live. This is how he gets his money, his bread and butter. And also, we see how much he loves his friends, right? Unfortunately, the other one, sorry. But then with the whole getting money for Boston's teacher's exam, that's amazing. And him trying to get the bed, even though he did it in a weird way. It shows that this guy really does care. It shows that this guy did have a heart before finding this baby, and this baby just helped him find it, if I can say that. So I really appreciate that the plot is written in a way that it's centered around crime, but we can take certain lessons away from it. I say this in contrast to many South African films that are just centered around crime, and it's kind of like you look at it, and then what did I learn? Nothing. So I really appreciated the plot, and I think that's all I have to say on the storytelling. Briefly touched on so there were two other endings that we did not get to see, but I believe certain. I was talking to someone about the movie, and they were talking about they watched it on a certain streaming service. I can't remember, but they had a different ending, and then they watched it on another one. They had a different ending. So I found this on TV Tropes, the website. So thank you for that. So there were two alternate endings were filmed. One where Tsotsi is shot dead by the police, and another where he's still shot but still escapes. Both endings were extremes on the sliding scale of idealism versus cynicism. Hood decided to take the third option by using neither. I really appreciate Tsotsi. It's one of the movies that I go back to now and again because it's amazing. It's pure South African genuinity at its best. I love it. And I would give this movie a 10 out of 10. Yeah, yeah. 10 out of 10. But nonetheless, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. Bye.